Guys, this has been a really informative podcast. I've got one final question for you both. Get your crystal balls out. So what do you see obsolescence management being like 10, 20, 30 years from now? How do you see the future?
Obsolescence is one of those topics that will be with us forever. And I could see it becoming quite mainstream and a more integral part of support, or design and support. And I think it will get the recognition it needs in terms of the funding required and the organisation and the tools and the information it requires to do that job properly, to allow that capability and service to be made available whenever the client requires it.
David, do you concur with what Tim said there? Because the only thing I can see is technology is growing that quick now. I mean, AI this year is a massive factor in life in general. Not really heard of sort of 4 or 5 years ago, just under the ground. Now our technology is changing on such a rapid curve. Obsolescence management is going to get more difficult, surely.
Well, I think the solutions are going to get different, become different. We all know about 3D printing. And I can see that, especially in many areas, that 3D printing will become replace what we call reverse engineering and things like that on various, especially hardware programs and products. So I can see 3D printing, at least in the next 10 years, it is already prevalent in many organizations in terms of replacing the original items. And I can see that becoming more prevalent as the future goes, that we will use 3D printing in certain areas and to resolve obsolescence. I see more emulation. For example, if you take logical controller, program logical controllers, which is a piece of kit that's normally hardware, that's normally got some software written into it, we're seeing some of those replaced by emulators on PCs now. So I can see more emulation replacing these type of tasks. I see as you quite rightly say, I see AI being used to do a great deal more predictions. Normally, in the electronics part of the obsolescence management, if you don't have an answer for the life end of production forecast, they use algorithms. We use algorithms as well, based on a lot of them are based on what's called the EIA 724. But I can see now when we take obsolescence programs into the future, we take the items list in, we actually can start to assess the number of type of part items in there, whether it's got semiconductors, whether it's got capacitors, whether it's got pumps, valves, whatever it may be. And we can use AI to predict the life cycle of that equipment. This is way before we even get to breaking down the equipment into understanding the reality of obsolescence. So I do see AI being promulgated into the use of future predictions of equipment. We can then plug into things much more like failure information into the AI to give us a much better life cycle approach. So holistically, I see quite a bit of change coming in the future in how we would address obsolescence management. But Tim is quite right. I think we're actually starting now to see the prime customers looking at actually funding obsolescence more than it has done in the past, understanding obsolescence. I also see that they will want to move risk around. I think customers want to remove the risk from them to people like the primes who work for them or who do produce the equipment. So I see the risk going down into the manufacturing side. And I also see the growth of data is going to become more available. And data is an important part of doing the assessment. But long term, I think 20 years from now, I think the role will be considerably different to what it is now.
Fabulous. Well, I'll leave links to everybody who's enjoyed the podcast. I'll leave links at the bottom for Alan Webb, the website, consultancy, training courses, pretty much everything you've heard on this podcast, Alan Webb supports on, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. The brains within Alan Webb is incredible within obsolescence management and beyond sustainability engineering. Also, I'll leave links to the Diamond OM website, which is the software that you can manage obsolescence on yourself or with help from Alan Webb as the consultants. Please like and subscribe, follow for more content. We've got a lot of content like this about various subjects within industry and defence and all other sectors too. And thank you, Tim. It's been fantastic. Thank you, David. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast, and hopefully we will see you at either IOM meetings in the future or any events that we are actually demonstrating at.
Perfect. Thank you.